6 winters of frost, of bone, of a grave that should not exist, out there past the last line of dead pines, where no pack lays a claim, where no man rides without a reason. There is a clearing, and in the clearing, a burial mound, and beside the mound, a creature. She is 20 years old. She has not heard a human voice in years. Her hands are split open at the knuckles, and she does not feel them. She does not know who lies beneath her palms. She does not know whose grave she has guarded through 6 winters of teeth. But somewhere, beyond the trees, a patrol is riding. 12 wolves in formation, 6 riders in black. And at the center, a king who has not slept a full night in 14 years, who turned his head, just now, toward the wind because the wind has carried him a scent he buried at 16, a scent the dead are not supposed to keep. For 6 winters, she had not heard a human voice. She had not needed to. The dead do not need to be spoken to, but she spoke anyway every morning. To the grave, to the woman in the ground, to the only person who had ever been kind to her in 20 years of being alive. Ren was 20 years old. She did not know what 20 was supposed to look like, but she knew it was not this, not bones showing through wrists, not feet that had stopped feeling the snow, not a body so quiet inside that her own wolf had gone to sleep 4 winters ago and forgotten how to wake. The 6th winter had teeth. She felt them through the wolf pelt across her shoulders, through the cracks in her knuckles that had been bleeding for 3 days, through the gap where her collarbone met her neck and the cold came in like a thin, slow knife. The grave was sinking again. She pressed her palm flat against the frozen mound, felt the inch of give, the slow surrender of earth to weight and time. The woman beneath had been small in life. 6 years underground made anyone smaller. "I'll fix it," she said, her voice scratched. The kind of voice a throat makes when it only speaks to the dead. She scraped frozen dirt from the embankment, packed it over the depression. The cold bit into the splits on her fingers. She felt nothing about that. Cold was just another room she lived in. A loud wolf got you killed in no man's land. A loud anything got you killed. Ren had survived 6 winters because she had become the quietest creature in the dead forest. Quieter than the owls, quieter than the foxes, quieter than the wind moving through pines that had not put out a new needle in a decade. The woman in the grave had once told her, on a summer evening 4 years before she died, "When you are 20, you should be laughing. You should be loved. You should be eating something other than rabbit." Ren had laughed then. That was the last time. She sat back on her heels. The wind moved through the dead pines, carried the scent of nothing. The creek froze early, she said to the grave. She always told it the weather first. The woman beneath the earth had lied, had said weather was the only honest thing in the world. I had to melt snow. You always hated snow water, said it tasted flat, said it tasted like the sky had given up. She paused, tilted her head, listening, as if the woman might answer. She did not, but Ren listened anyway, because that was the deal she had made with herself at 14. She would talk. The woman would listen. That was what kept the silence from swallowing her whole. "I caught a rabbit 2 days ago. Snare worked. Like you taught me." Low loop. Because anything alive ducks when it's scared. She did not say I cried. She had not cried in 3 years. The body learned to stop wasting water. A flashback came, uninvited, sharp as a thorn. She was 8, she was running. The pack that bore her had decided she was too weak to feed before she had a name. They had left her in the underbrush like a stillborn lamb. Some part of her had refused to die. So she had crawled, then walked, then run. For 3 winters she ran, until one morning in the borderlands. October. The leaves the color of old fire. A woman sitting on a stump, coughing, quiet, patient. The woman had gold eyes. Ren had only ever seen gold eyes on wolves. She froze, half-shifted, snarled. 8 years old, and she snarled like a cornered animal because that was the only language she remembered. The woman did not move. The woman opened her hands, palms up, slow, like she was offering something, like she had time. "Are you hungry?" Ren had not understood the words, had not heard human speech in so long that words sounded like wind. But she had understood the hands. The woman pulled bread from a satchel, broke it in half, set one half on the stump, did not look, did not approach, just set the bread down and waited. Ren had crept forward on all fours, snatched the bread, run, eaten it under a fallen log 100 yards away. The woman had been on the stump the next morning too, and the morning after that, for 9 mornings the bread appeared. On the 10th morning, no bread, a fire, a pot, and a voice. Will you sit with me? Wren had sat. That was how it started. 12 years ago, a lifetime ago. Wren came back to herself. She was still kneeling at the grave. The wind had picked up. Her fingers had gone the color of skim milk. She flexed them. A bead of blood welled, froze, slid down her wrist as a small red stone. She stood. Knees cracked. She turned toward the lean-to. She needed firewood before dark. She took 2 steps, and then her wolf woke up, not stirred, woke, full, howling, battering the inside of her ribs like a thing trying to get born. She staggered, caught the bark of a pine, held no. The scent hit her a half-second later, pine resin, wood smoke, and something underneath, something deep, something that smelled like hot stone after a summer rain. Like iron warmed in a forge, her vision flickered gold at the edges. Mate, the word rose from somewhere ancient. Mate. Mate, shut up, Wren whispered. Shut up. But her wolf would not. Then she heard them. Hooves on frozen ground, the creak of leather, and underneath it all, the thump of paws. Many, moving in formation, a patrol, a big one. She dropped to the ground, pressed flat into the dead bracken. 6 years of practice, she could disappear into a frozen forest the way other people could disappear into a crowd. The patrol broke through 12 shifted wolves, black-furred, huge, 6 riders on black horses. Armor did not jingle because real armor never jingled. The kind of patrol you saw once in a lifetime if you saw it at all, and at the center, on a horse so dark it seemed to eat the gray winter light, a man. He was the size of a barn door. Even mounted, she could see the breadth of his shoulders under the fur-lined cloak, the thickness of his forearms where they held the reins. He sat the horse the way a thing sits inside its own body. His hair was black, cut close. There was a scar that ran from behind his left ear down under his collar. She could see it from 30 feet away, because her wolf was sharpening her sight without permission. He turned his head. His eyes found the tree line. Gold, not the gold of her old guardian. Not soft, not patient. This was the gold of a forge at full burn. The gold of a man whose wolf had not slept in 14 years. Wren stopped breathing. She knew who he was. Every rogue who had passed too close to her clearing in the last decade had said his name. Said it the way men say the names of weather they cannot stop. Ronan Blackwood. The Alpha King of Iron Moor. He was here, in no man's land. Riding toward the grave. His nostrils flared. He raised one hand. The entire patrol stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. 12 wolves froze mid-stride. 6 riders went still. The horses did not paw the ground. It was the kind of obedience that men give for free. To someone they would die for. He dismounted. A man that size should have made a sound landing. He made none. His boots touched frozen earth like a snowflake touching water. He walked toward the grave. His hands, which had been loose at his sides, were curling into fists until the tendons stood out on the backs of them. He stopped at the edge of the clearing. He breathed in, once, twice. A third time, deep, like a man going underwater. And something broke in his face. Wren saw it break. She did not know what it was. But it was the same thing she had seen break in her own face 12 years ago, when a woman with gold eyes opened her hands and offered her bread. He walked to the grave, stood over it, looked down at the flat river rock with its scratched letters. Here rests a gentle heart. He stood there for a long time. His shoulders began to shake, small, controlled, the kind of shaking a large man does when he is holding something back with both hands. Behind him, one of the riders dismounted, tall, older, gray beard, Your Majesty. The king did not answer. Ronan, still nothing. What is it? The king spoke without turning his head. It's her grave. The beta went still. You're certain? I can smell her. His voice came out the way old wood splits when you finally drive the wedge home. 6 years underground. 6 years of frost. And I can still smell my mother. Wren pressed her face into the frozen ground. His mother, the gentle woman in the grave, the one who had brushed her hair, the one who had shared her bread, the one who had pressed her palms over Wren's ears on the nights the rogues howled close. The Luna of Iron Moor, The woman Wren had buried with her own 14-year-old hands because no one came. No one ever came. Wren had buried the Alpha King's mother and kept her safe for 6 years without knowing. The king crouched, pressed his palm flat against the mound. The same gesture Wren made every morning. His thumb traced the edge of the fresh repair she had made an hour ago. He felt the human hands in it. His head came up. His nostrils flared. Different this time. Not searching for the dead, matching for the living. His eyes tracked across the clearing. And found her. She felt them land on her like a weight. Her wolf slammed against the inside of her ribs hard enough to bruise. He moved 4 strides, fast. Faster than a man that size had any business being. He stopped 3 feet from her, looked down at the creature pressed against the base of the pine. The wolf pelt, the dirty face, the bare feet, the matted hair the color of old leaves. His pupils blow wide. She watched them go from gold to black with a rim of gold. He felt it too, because her wolf was singing, and his wolf was answering. And the air between them was vibrating with a thing so old and so absolute that it had its own gravity. Who are you? Rough. Stripped. She tried to make her voice work. It would not. Who are you? Quieter this time. But somehow worse. She found her tongue. I buried her. His whole body locked. I was 8 when she found me. Or I found her. We weren't sure who found who. The words came out steady, surprising her. As if some other woman were speaking. As if the dirt and the bones and the cold had been hiding a person under them all along. She died in my arms. When I was 14, I buried her, and I stayed. He did not move. He looked at her for a long time. She watched things move across his face. Grief, rage, something that might have been wonder. You knew her. She took care of me. For how long? 6 years. Why? The question came out cracked. She did not know, had never known. I don't know. She never said. He went down on one knee, a man that size. On a knee. In front of a feral thing crouched in a pile of dead leaves, his hand came up, slow the way a man approaches a wounded hawk. He did not touch her. He hovered. An inch from her cheek. The heat off his palm was a shock against the frozen air. What is your name? Wren, he said it. Tasted it, Wren. The way a man says a word he has been waiting his whole life to say, without knowing he was waiting, Wren. Who buried my mother, Wren? Who has been guarding her grave in no man's land, alone. For 6 winters, his eyes dropped to her hands, the cracked knuckles, the fresh blood. His face went from grief to fury, a cold, quiet, directed fury. Who did this to you? No one. Don't lie. I'm not. She met his eyes. No one did this to me. I did this to myself. I stayed. Because she was here. Because she was the only thing in 20 years that was ever kind to me. And I owed her that. She stopped. She had not meant to say that much. She had not said that many words in a row in 6 years. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were wet. A king's eyes, wet, in front of his patrol. In front of a feral omega in a wolf pelt. He did not look away. He did not wipe them. He let her see. My mother who disappeared when I was 16. Yes. 14 years ago. Yes. Who they told me had gone mad. Who they told me had walked into the wilderness in the middle of the night. Yes. His voice was low, even. One breath away from a thing that would reshape continents. You found her. She found me. And you stayed with her until she died? Yes. And then you stayed with her after she died? Yes. 6 years, yes. Alone, yes, he breathed out. The breath shook. And then he did something Wren had never seen any man do in 20 years of avoiding men. He bent his head to her. A bow, small, brief, unmistakable. Thank you. She had no shape for that. Thank you for keeping her safe. When my entire kingdom failed to. The beta moved up behind him. Your Majesty. Not now, sire. I said not now, Garrick. Garrick stopped. Wren filed the name. 6 years of survival had taught her to file every name like a knife into a sheath. The king looked at her again. You are coming with me. She did not answer. You will be warm, and fed, and safe, and no one will ever lay a hand on you that you do not invite. I can't leave. You can. The grave. The grave is coming too. That stopped her. My mother is coming home. With full honors. With the ceremony she should have had. She will be reburied beside my father, and you will be there. And you will tell me how she lived and how she died. And every word she ever said in 6 years, he paused. And then, you will stay. Because I do not know what you are to me yet. But my wolf knows. And his answer is not a thing I can argue with. She had been alone for so long that the idea of someone deciding something about her did not feel real. Her wolf was purring. She did not know wolves could purr, but the great black-haired man on one knee in front of her. Her wolf knew him, and her wolf had decided, okay, Ren said it was such a small word. For a thing that large, something at the corners of his mouth softened. His hand closed the last inch. His palm settled against her cheek callouses. Warm. And the mate bond cracked open between them like a frozen river going through in spring. She made a sound, halfway between a whimper and a greeting. His wolf answered. A rumble in his chest. His thumb brushed the bone of her cheek. Tell me one thing. Anything. How long since you ate? 2 days. His jaw locked. He stood, lifted her up with him. She weighed nothing in his hands. He held her the way a man holds something he is afraid he has come too late for. Garrick, sire, make camp here. We are not riding tonight, sire. Garrick, she eats. She sleeps. Tomorrow we ride. Yes, sire. He stayed 3 days, not 3 hours. 3 days, the lean-to was a thing of sticks and pelts and packed mud. It would not have held out the next storm. Ronan fixed it, without being asked, without making a thing of it, a king, on his knees in the snow, hammering stakes into frozen ground, with his own hands. For a lean-to that he was going to leave behind in 2 days. Ren watched him from inside the doorway. She had wrapped herself in his cloak. It smelled like him, pine and wood smoke and hot stone. Her wolf was so quiet inside her that it took her a long time to realize it was not quiet because it was hiding. It was quiet because it was content. For the first time in 20 years, he cooked badly. A man who had clearly never been the one in the kitchen tending a pot over a fire with the concentration of a man diffusing a bomb. He burned the first batch of stew. He swore softly. Started again. He served her first. He had not eaten yet. He sat across the fire from her, and he watched her eat. She ate slowly. Her body remembered the year she had caught 2 rabbits and gorged, and then vomited until she saw stars. He watched her eat slow, and his face did something complicated. Like a man who has just learned a thing he wishes he had never had to learn. Tell me about her. She set the spoon down. She had your eyes. That was the first thing she said. She did not know why that was the first thing. It just was. Your gold? Yes. She had your jaw. The same line. Right here, she traced her own. His throat worked. She used to hum. What? At night. After we ate, she would hum. A tune. I don't know the words. I think they were in a language she didn't want to teach me. But she would hum. And I would fall asleep to it. His eyes closed. My grandmother sang it to her. It's a lullaby. From the old country, she never said the words. She wouldn't have. She would have thought it was dangerous. Why? He opened his eyes. Because she was hiding. From what? He looked at her for a long moment. From the men who drove her out. Ren's hand tightened on the bowl. She had always known the woman was hiding. The woman had told her so. Names are dangerous, you and I. We will only have each other. Who drove her out? His jaw went so tight she thought it might crack. I don't know yet. But I will. She believed him. She believed him the way she believed weather. On the 3rd morning, they opened the grave. Ronan did it himself. He would not let Garrick. He would not let any of the patrol. He went down on his knees in the snow with a soldier's shovel, and he dug. It took hours. The ground was hard. Frost was deep. Sweat soaked through his shirt, despite the cold. He did not stop. He did not let anyone help. Ren stood at the edge of the clearing. She watched a king dig his mother out of no man's land. When his shovel struck cloth, he set it aside, went down on his hands and knees, lifted her out, bone mostly, after 6 years. But he lifted her like she was sleeping. He laid her on a clean white cloth Garrick had spread, knelt over her, pressed his forehead to her wrapped chest, and the broadest pair of shoulders Ren had ever seen shook silently. Garrick stepped back, walked away, not far, far enough that the king could weep without witnesses. Garrick caught Ren's eye as he passed. He did not nod. He did not speak. But she understood suddenly the shape of the man's loyalty. A man who knew his king well enough to know when to stop being seen. When Ronan lifted his head, his face was wet. He looked at her. Will you help me to wrap her properly, the way she should have been wrapped? 6 years ago, yes. She knelt beside him. The clean linen, white, new. and then his hand stopped, his breath caught. What? Ren looked there. Beside the woman's ribs, inside the old, small wooden box. She had not put it there. She had never seen it. But she remembered, suddenly. With a jolt that took her breath, she remembered her own 14-year-old hands wrapping the woman's body. The woman's last words, 4 nights before she died. Bury me with what is in my satchel. Promise. I promise. Ren had kept the promise. She had not looked. The woman had said, don't look. So she had not looked. Ronan lifted the box. His fingers were trembling inside. A ring, a man's gold ring, heavy, old, a wolf's head crest, and a small lock of dark hair tied with a faded blue ribbon. Folded under both, a sealed letter, the wax the deep green of Iron Moor. The letter had words on the outside in careful handwriting Ren knew. For my son. When the time comes, Ronan did not open it then. He held it, stared at it, closed his fist, pressed the fist to his mouth. Then he tucked the letter inside his shirt, against his skin, over his heart. He lifted the box and held it out to Ren. You hold this until we are home. You guarded everything else for 6 years. You guard this for 2 more days. She took the box. She held it like a heartbeat. The ride to Iron Moor took 3 hours. Ren had never ridden a horse. She rode in front of Ronan, wrapped in his cloak. The wooden box held tight against her chest with both hands. She did not look back at the clearing. She could not. She felt him at her back. The wall of him, the heat of him. The way his arm tightened, without thought, every time she shivered. The compound rose out of the trees like a thing carved from a mountain. Walls, towers, smoke from 100 chimneys. Gates that opened before the patrol reached them. People came out. So many people. They stared. The whispers started before she was off the horse, Omega. Pfefferl, don't look at them, Ronan said, low, into her hair. Look at me. She could not look at him. Her hands were full of his mother. He dismounted, lifted her down. His hands almost met around her waist, and she saw something flicker in his face that she could not name and did not want to. A woman descended the stone steps. Tall, older. Silver streaks through dark hair, a dress the deep red of dried blood, the gray eyes assessed in a single sweep, Your Majesty. Councilwoman Morel, what is this? Her voice was very careful. This is my mother. Ronan turned. Garrick stepped forward with the long bundle wrapped in clean white linen. Cradled in his arms like a sleeping bride, the crowd inhaled, the whole crowd. As one, your mother? Yes, I found her grave. In no man's land. 6 years buried. 6 winters guarded. By whom? By her. Ronan's hand came to rest between Ren's shoulder blades. A weight, an anchor, an omega, Mirel said. Not a question, my mate, Ronan said. The compound went silent. Then it shattered. A dozen voices at once. Council members on the steps. Captains in the courtyard. Servants at the doorways. Protesting. Questioning. Ronan ignored them. He walked Ren up the steps. A young woman in servant's clothes appeared at his elbow. Wide-eyed, my chambers. Now, hot water, food. The healer. Yes, Your Majesty? Myriel's voice. Cutting. Calm. The kind of voice that did not need to be loud because it had been listened to for 40 years. The council must convene. The council will convene when I tell it to. A feral omega from the borderlands cannot simply be. She is my mate. That is not a thing the council convenes about. He did not stop walking. The doors closed behind them. The cold cut off, Ren stumbled at the threshold. The warmth was a wall she had not known to brace for. When did you last sleep indoors? 8, I think. His jaw flexed. They reached a heavy door at the end of a corridor. He pushed it open. The room beyond was the size of a barn. A fire burned in a stone hearth so big she could have lived in it. He took the wooden box from her arms, set it on a low table beside the hearth. Within her reach, then he stepped back, 1 step. The way a man steps back from a wild thing he does not want to spook. I have to go. Just for a little while, he stopped. I have to do 20 things, none of which I want to do, because what I want to do is sit on this floor with you and not move. He said it flat, like a man reading a report. Go, she said. I will come back, I know. He looked at her. A long look. The kind of look a man takes of something he is afraid will not be there when he turns around. You are safe here. She did not answer. No one had ever said those words to her. Not once. Not in 20 years. He left. The door closed. She slid down the wall, sat on the floor. wrapped her arms around her knees, and for the first time in 6 years, she cried. It was a small crying, quiet, the body remembering, slow, that it was allowed. The healer came. A gray-haired woman with sharp, kind eyes who introduced herself as Odila. She cleaned and bandaged and murmured small, disapproving sounds at what she found. Food came. Broth, bread. Ren ate half. Her body said no more. Odila paused at the door. There is something about you. What? I don't know yet. But there is something. Ren slept. In the chair, wrapped in the cloak. The wooden box on her lap. She woke when the door opened. It was dark. Hours had passed. Ronan came in, carrying a tray. He set it on the table. He saw she was awake, and his face softened. The way a face softens when it sees things it had been afraid would be gone. You're still here. Where would I go? He almost laughed. He did not quite, but he almost. He crouched in front of her chair, bringing his face below her eye level. A king. Making himself smaller, the letter, he said. You haven't read it? No. Why? Because I wanted to read it with you. Her breath caught. Because she lived her last 6 years with you. Because whatever she wrote, it belongs to both of us. Or it belongs to neither of us. But it does not belong to only me. He reached inside his shirt, brought out the letter. The deep green wax was unbroken. Together, he broke the seal. He unfolded the paper, his mother's careful hand. Ren saw it from across his lap and felt something in her chest tear and reseal in the same breath. He read silently, his eyes moving. Ren watched his face. Watched it go through things, grief, surprise, a kind of awe, and then, at the bottom of the page, a line that stopped him. He read it twice. He read it 3 times. His hand began, very slowly, to tremble. What does it say? He looked up at her. His gold eyes were wet. My son, if you have found this letter, then you have found her grave. And if you have found her grave, then you have found the girl who guarded it. And I need you to know something. Before any counsel, before any decision, before any word from any man who will try to tell you who she is or is not, he swallowed. My son, I chose her for you when she was 8 years old. The room went very still. I chose her. I found her in the borderlands. I knew what she was. I knew what we both were. I raised her for you because the men in your council would have killed her if they had found her. I died slowly so that she could live. And I am, with my last breath, giving her to you, not as a gift. As your equal. As the only one who can. He stopped. He handed the letter to her. Ren took it in shaking hands. She read where he had stopped. The only one who can stand at your side and hold what is coming. The bloodline did not die with me, Ronan. It hid, in the borderlands. In a child no one was looking for. Find her, keep her, crown her, and do not ever let the council near her unguarded. She is yours. She has been yours since she was 8, your mother, who loves you, always. From the other side, Isolde. Ren lowered the letter. She looked at Ronan. He looked at her. Neither of them spoke. Outside, beyond the heavy door, the compound was awake. A council was gathering. Whispers were sharpening into knives. A man named Hadrick was learning that his king had brought a wife home from no man's land. A woman named Sable was hearing it too. But inside the room, there was only firelight, a wooden box, a folded letter, a king on his knees, and a girl who had been chosen at the age of 8 by a dying woman with gold eyes who had walked into the wilderness on a plan that had taken 14 years to bloom. Ronan reached for her hand. His thumb passed over the cracked knuckles. Gently, she chose you. Yes, 12 years ago. She chose you. For me. Yes, his voice dropped. To a thing she felt more than heard. Then we have a great deal of work ahead of us. You and I. She closed her hand around his. For the first time in 20 years, she held a living thing without flinching. Then we begin, she said. Outside, the wind picked up. Snow began to fall. Inside, the fire burned, and the 6th winter ended. She did not sleep that night. Neither did he. They sat on the floor by the fire. The letter between them. The wooden box beside it. The ring with the wolf's head crest catching firelight like a small ember. She knew. Yes. She knew for 12 years. Yes. She let me believe she was mad. She let me grieve her as a woman who walked into the woods because grief had broken her. And the whole time. She was. He stopped. His throat worked. She was raising you. Yes. For me, yes. He set the letter down on the stone floor, very carefully, like a thing that might break. Then he put his head in his hands, a king, on the floor. Head in his hands, Ren did not move toward him. She did not know if she could. Her wolf wanted to. Go to him, go to him. But the human part of her was 20 years of survival. And 20 years of survival did not know how to comfort a man in a fur-lined cloak who was breaking quietly 2 feet away. She did the only thing she knew how to do. She talked. The way she had talked to the grave for 6 winters. She hummed in the evenings. He did not lift his head, but his shoulders shifted. He was listening. After we ate. She would sit on a stump outside the lean-to. Even in winter, she would wrap up in everything she had, and she would sit on the stump and look up and hum. And I would sit on the ground at her feet, and I would lean against her shins, and she would hum until I was warm, until you were warm. Yes, in the borderlands. In winter, yes, he lifted his head. Slowly, how, I don't know. Her hands were always warm, even at the end, even when the rest of her was, even when she could not eat. Her hands were warm. He stared at her, Luna Prime. He said, she did not know what that meant. He saw she did not know. Tomorrow, Odila will explain there are things about my mother's bloodline that I did not know until tonight. But Ren, yes. If she could keep an 8-year-old warm with her hands in the borderlands in winter, yes. That is not a thing an ordinary wolf can do. Her wolf was still humming. It occurred to her, slowly, that maybe her wolf had not been broken for all those years. Maybe her wolf had been waiting for something or for someone. She did not finish the thought. It was too large. She let it sit, like a stone at the bottom of a deep well. Morning came differently than morning had come for 6 years. It came with a knock, with hot water in a copper basin, with clean clothes folded on a chair, with sunlights slanting through a window that had real glass in it. The servant girl set a tray down, looked at her, looked away. I can help you, my lady, my lady. Ren almost laughed. The sound came out wrong. The girl flinched. I'm sorry. What's your name? The girl looked up. Surprised Brida? My lady, Brida. Help me, please. I don't remember how. Brida helped her quickly, without commentary, without judgment. The way a good servant helps someone learn a thing she should have learned 20 years ago. The water in the basin went black, then brown, then gray. Brida refilled it 3 times. When Ren stepped out, her hair washed, fell down her back the color of old leaves after rain. A dark red-brown, she did not know, was her color until she saw it. She caught herself in the mirror. She had not seen a mirror in 12 years. She did not recognize the woman in it. 20 years old. A woman. She had thought she was still the 8-year-old in the underbrush. She was not. She had not been for a long time. Odila came in. She stopped at the sight of Ren. My word. What? You are quite a different creature this morning, child. I am quite a different creature inside, too. Odila smiled. Just one corner of her mouth. Sit down. Let me look at you. Ren sat. Odila set her satchel on the table. Took out a short, slender wand of something that looked like silver. What is that? Resonance reader. Old thing. Older than this kingdom. Sit still. Breathe normally. Odila held the wand, an inch from Ren's sternum. Not touching, the wand began to hum. A low, deep, steady hum. Odila's face changed. She set the wand down. Her hand was shaking. What? Be still a moment. I am old, child. I need a moment. Odila walked to the window, pressed her hand flat against the cold glass, breathed. When she turned back, her eyes were wet. You are not Omega. What? You have never been Omega. The reading you give on the surface, the scent, the way you carry yourself, that is what 20 years of starvation does. That is what 12 years of suppression does. You hid so well that your own wolf believed you. But underneath, she paused, underneath. You are Luna Prime. The words meant nothing to Ren. I have read every text in this kingdom's library, child. The last recorded Luna Prime on this continent died over 200 years ago. The bloodline was thought extinct. What can she do? Heal by touch. Stabilize any alpha she chooses. Amplify a pack's power by orders of magnitude. See what? See what is not meant to be seen. The truth in a man, the memory in a hand. The thing under the thing. Ren went very still. Odila crossed back to her, knelt in front of the chair, took Ren's hands in her own. Her hands were warm. Steady, the former Luna. Isolde? I read her once, 40 years ago, when she was new to this pack. The reading I took then, the reading I am taking from you now, They are the same. Ren stopped breathing. The same frequency, the same resonance. Identical? That isn't possible. It is rare. Rare beyond words. But it is possible only one way. She squeezed Ren's hands. You and the former Luna share blood? The world tilted? Cousins, perhaps? Distant cousins. The same family line. The same dying bloodline that the men in this council have been hunting and burying for 3 generations. The door opened. Ronan. He stopped at the threshold. He saw her face. What? Odila stood. Sire, we need to speak. Now. The 3 of us. He closed the door. He came to her. He crouched. She told him each piece. She watched his face. It did not break this time. It assembled, piece by piece, around the new shape of the world. When she finished, he was very still. The letter.
My mother wrote.
The bloodline did not die with me.
It hid in the child no one was looking for.
Yes, she did not mean she had hidden the bloodline by hiding herself. She meant me. She meant you. He closed his eyes when he opened them. The gold was burning. Odila, sire, how many people in this compound knew about my mother's bloodline? 14 years ago, a long silence. 5, sire. Plus a 6th who was suspected. Of all of them, 4 are dead. 2 remain. Names, sire. Names. Today, a long silence. Councilman Hadrick and Councilwoman Morel. The room went very cold. Hadrick, my father's beta, who led the search parties, who stood at the empty memorial, who put his hand on my shoulder at 16 and said, "We will find her, my boy." He laughed. It was not a pleasant sound, sire, Odila said. I will not move yet. I have no proof. I have your reading. I have my mother's letter. And I have a man who has lied to me for 14 years. He will not crack from one accusation. He will sink deeper. He will burn everything he can reach. He looked at Ren, starting with her. Ren met his eyes. Let him try. He almost smiled. He did not, but almost. You don't know him yet. He is patient. He is quiet. The worst kind of dangerous. The kind that puts his hand on your shoulder. His sister, Sable. You will meet her tonight. Council dinner. They have demanded to see you. All right, do not eat anything that I have not eaten first. Do not drink anything that I have not drunk first. Do not let anyone touch you. Why? Because you are now the most dangerous woman they have ever seen sit at their table. And they do not know it yet. But Hadrick does. The moment his eyes find yours, he will know. She did not flinch. She had spent 6 years being hunted by rogues. Politics was a thing she did not know. But hunting she knew. You are going to start training today. Garrick will teach you. Knife, hand, how to fall. Why? Because your wolf is the loudest thing in this kingdom right now. And the things that come for you will come when your wolf is asleep. So you will learn to not need her. She nodded. Once he turned to Odila. Burn your notes, sire. Burn them. Today. Every note you have taken on this woman since she arrived. I do not want a single page in your workroom that says the words Luna Prime in your handwriting. Yes, sire, I am sorry. I know what I am asking. You are asking me to do what I should have done 40 years ago, sire. I will do it. Gladly. He bowed his head to her. A king bowed his head. To a healer. Then he turned to Ren. He crossed to her, bent. His forehead touched hers. Brief. A breath. You are not alone in this, I know. Say it back. I am not alone in this. He left. Odila exhaled then. Quietly. She crossed to the fire. Lifted her satchel. Dropped a small leather book into the flames. She watched it burn. 40 years, she said. I have been a healer in this kingdom 40 years. And I have watched men in fine coats decide which women are dangerous. And I have watched those women disappear. And I have not been brave. She turned to Ren. I am being brave now. I see you. That is the only thing she ever wanted. The former Luna, to be seen. By someone with the power to do something about what she saw. I am not powerful, child. Odila took her hands again. You are the most powerful living wolf on this continent. And no one knows it yet. Not even you. Garrett came an hour later. She had been waiting by the window, watching the courtyard below. Soldiers training. Servants crossing. Up close he was older than she had thought. 60. Maybe 65. The kind of older that does not slow down. His beard was iron gray. There was a long scar on the back of his left hand that ran from his thumb up under his sleeve. My lady. Don't call me that. I can't carry it yet. Ren. Just Ren, please. Yes, all right. The king has asked me to teach you to fight. I know. Do you know how to fight? I know how to hide. I know how to run. I know how to set a snare. I do not know how to fight a man. All right, will it take long? That depends on you. I learn quickly. Show me. He spent 2 hours with her, did not teach her a single strike, taught her how to stand, how to breathe, how to fall, how to roll, how to keep her eyes on a man's chest and not his hands. Because his chest would tell her what his hands were going to do. He did not touch her once. She noticed. She noticed a great deal about Captain Garrick. He moved the way her old guardian had moved. Quiet. Patient. Like a man who had learned long ago that loud was a luxury he could not afford. He looked at her sometimes when he thought she was not looking. His face did things she could not read, but she could feel his attention. The way you can feel a hand near your back without it touching, it was the same kind of attention the woman in the grave had given her. She did not understand why. She did not ask. She would. Later, but not yet, at the end of the 2 hours. He bowed. Tomorrow morning, Ren. Before breakfast. And Ren, yes. At dinner tonight, yes. He paused. Do not look at Hadrick for the first 10 minutes. Do not. Let him look at you. Let him underestimate you. We need that. He will not give you another underestimation. All right, and if something happens at the table, if something feels wrong, do not stand up. Do not draw attention. Knock your water cup over, with your right hand, into anyone's lap. I will be at your shoulder before the spilled water touches the floor. You will be at the door, my lady. I will be wherever I need to be. He left. Her wolf was awake, the way a wolf is awake when it has been told there is something in the trees. Dinner was held in the great hall, a long oak table, 12 chairs. 11 were full, the 12th was hers. She walked in beside Ronan, his hand at the small of her back. The hall went silent. She wore a dark red gown, the color of her hair. Of her wolf, she knew now. Her hair was braided back from her face. Brida had done it, slowly, patiently, the way the old woman had once braided it 12 years ago. Ren did not look at the council. She looked at her chair. She sat. She did not lift her eyes. Ronan sat beside her. He did not introduce her. He did not have to. She felt them, Muriel across from her. Steady gray gaze. Hadrick 2 seats down on the left. She did not look at him. She knew the moment he looked at her. She felt it like a finger drawn down her spine, cold. Specific. Measuring. She did not flinch. Ronan lifted his glass. To my mother. The table lifted glasses. To Luna Isolde. He drank. Everyone drank. Ren did not drink. She picked up the cup. She held it. She did not put it to her lips. Ronan's eyes flicked. Almost a smile. A woman 2 seats down spoke. Your Majesty, we are so very glad. To have your mother home at last. The voice was soft, cultured, sweet. Ren looked up. Sable, tall, black hair, ice blue eyes. A long dress the color of midnight. A mouth that smiled. Eyes that did not. Thank you, Sable, and we are so curious. To meet the woman who brought her home? Ronan said. May I present Lady Sable? Councilman Hadrick's sister, my lady. Lady Sable, how wonderful. We have heard so much about you. I have heard nothing about you. The table made a sound. Not laughter, not gasping. Something between Sable's smile twitched. Once. Held, you will, I am sure, Ronan's hand. Under the table, found hers. Squeezed. Once Muriel spoke. My lady Ren. May I ask, how long you knew the former Luna? 6 years in no man's land. Yes. What was she? Like. Ren paused. She thought of a woman who hummed lullabies in a language she would not name. Of warm hands. Of a half loaf of bread set down without a word. She was kind. That was all she said. Muriel's face did something. It was very small. Very fast. But Ren saw it. Muriel's eyes dropped. To her own hands. Folded on the table. White-knuckled. A man with white knuckles is a man who is holding something back. Garrick had taught her that. A woman with white knuckles was a woman who knew something. The courses came. Ronan tasted. Ren ate. Hadrick spoke. For the first time, forgive me, my lady, but I cannot quite comprehend the story I have been told. May I ask, did the former Luna ever tell you where she had come from? His voice was warm. Smooth. She did not. How extraordinary. Yes. No. Why ever not? Because she did not want me to. But you must have been. Curious. I was 8. Ah, of course. And later, I was 11, 12, 14. By the time I was old enough to ask. She was already coughing blood. The tables went still. Sable's wine cup paused halfway to her mouth. Hadrick's smile did not move, but his eyes did. Just a flicker. Ren caught it. A man flickers when he is calculating. She looked at her plate, then past her plate, to Hadrick for the first time. Eyes on his, she held, she did not blink. She did not glare, she just held. And she let her wolf rise up. Behind her eyes, just enough. Just enough for the gold to flicker at the edges. Hadrick's face did not change, but his hand, on the stem of his glass, tightened. She saw it. He was good. He was very good. But he was not quite good enough. She lowered her eyes. She lifted her cup. She drank. The dinner ended. People rose. Mirelle passed near Ren's chair as she rose. It was a tight aisle. Crowded. Mirelle reached to steady herself against the back of Ren's chair. Her hand brushed Ren's bare skin to bare skin. It was a fraction of a second. Ren went blind. That was what it felt like. The room went white. And then, it was not the room. It was a different room, a study. Lamplit, books on shelves, a long table, 3 men around it, and a younger Mireille standing in a doorway, 40 years younger, her face white as paper, a man at the head of the table, iron gray hair, younger, jaw, but the same eyes. Hadrick, his voice. The Luna is unstable. The reading has confirmed it. We have no choice. The dosage will be administered through the cook. She will weaken. She will withdraw. She will be removed. With dignity, with grief. The boy will be told she went mad. Morel, in the doorway. And if she does not weaken, then I will administer the second course myself. Morel, do not lose your nerve now. Morel saying nothing. Stepping back, closing the door. Quietly, the scene snapped. Ren came back. A half second had passed. Morel was looking at her. Gray eyes, stricken. She had felt it. Some echo of it. Morel pulled her hand back. Slowly, I am so sorry to have bumped you. It's all right, councilwoman. Morel bowed. She left. She did not look back. Ren sat down hard. Ronan was at her side in 2 strides. Not here. Get me out of here, please. Now he half carried her out. The door of his chambers closed behind her. She sank to her knees on the carpet by the fire. What happened? I saw it. I saw what Odila said I could do. I saw a memory in her hand. The room. The night they decided. Hadrick Muriel. A third man. She stopped. She breathed. I saw your mother die. The Washeti died. His face went still. Tell me, she told him, every detail. When she was done, his hand was flat against the floor. To stop the trembling, how touch. In 1 second, yes. Listen to me. Very carefully. You will not tell anyone what you can do. Not Garrick. Not Odila. Yet. Because if Hadrick knows, he will kill you in a way that erases every memory in your skin before you can put it into evidence. Yes, this is our knife. Mine, hidden, drawn only once, yes. He pulled her against him, held her, his chin on the top of her head. I am going to kill him, he said. It was not loud. It was not a vow. It was a statement. The way a man says the sun will rise. He will not see another spring. The next morning, Odila did not come. A boy came, pale, stuttering. Sire, the healer. She speak. She is in her workroom. She will not wake. Ronan was up, moving. The boy ran to keep up. The workroom was a small stone chamber off the eastern wing. Heavy door. Inside, bottles, books, drying herbs on a string. Odila was on the floor, breathing, slow. But breathing, the notes were gone. Every single page. The bound book on the table was empty. Cut clean. Ronan went down on one knee, pressed 2 fingers to her throat. Alive, Ren. Touch her. Ronan. Touch her hand. She knelt, took Odila's hand, closed her eyes. Nothing. She tried again. Still nothing. Why isn't it working? Because she is unconscious. My mother wrote it. At the bottom of the letter. The reading is on the surface of the living. Touch only the awake. The sleeping have nothing to give. Ren did not let go. She rested her hand on Odila's chest. Breathed after a while. Odila stirred. Just a little. Ren waited. Then, lightly, drew the back of 1 finger across the inside of Odila's wrist. The vision came faint, half-formed. The workroom. Last night, Odila bent over the book, writing, burning the older notes as Ronan had asked. The door opening. A figure in a hooded cloak. Tall, slim, a man's build but not Hadrick's. Younger, faster. Odila turning. A cloth pressed over her face, the sweet sharp smell of something Ren knew from no man's land. The vision faded. Not Hadrick himself. A hired thing. Hooded, tall, slim, younger. I did not see the face. His sister's men, maybe. He stood. His face did the thing she was learning to recognize. The white-knuckled face, Garrick, Sire, the captain had appeared in the doorway. Ren had not heard him arrive. Search the eastern stables. Quietly. Look for a hooded cloak. Tall, slim younger man. Anyone who came in last night and has not been seen since, sire and Garrick. Step outside with me. They stepped out. The door did not close all the way. Ren did not mean to listen. But the wolf in her was sharp now. She heard Garrick, in a voice she had not heard him use before. A voice that cracked, sire. I have to tell you something that I should have told you 14 years ago. A long silence. Speak. The night your mother left. I was on the wall. I had the Eastern watch. Yes, she came to me. In the courtyard, wrapped in a traveling cloak. Carrying a satchel. Yes, she asked me to open the eastern gate. For her, and not to tell anyone, ever. A long silence. I owed her a debt, sire. She had saved my daughter, 5 years before, when the fever came through the eastern wing. Your mother sat by my daughter's bed for 3 nights, with her hands on her chest, and my daughter lived, when the others did not. Yes, she said, they are going to kill me, Garrick. Tonight, or tomorrow night. I have to disappear so completely that they will believe me dead and stop looking. Open the gate. Yes, I opened it, sire. I let her out. I watched her walk into the snow, and I closed the gate, and I told no one. Not when the search parties went out. Not when the funerals were held. Not when you turned 16 alone with no mother. Not when you took the throne. Not when you grieved her for 14 years. A long silence. Garrick's voice, almost gone now. Sire, I will draw my own blade. Now tonight. In front of you. If that is what you require of me. I have lived with this for 14 years. I have not slept well in 14 years. I have served you, and loved you, and lied to you. Whatever you require I will give. The longest silence yet. Then a small, rough sound. Ren did not understand at first what the sound was. It was Ronan, laughing, not laughter of joy. Laughter of the most exhausted kind. Of a man who has been carrying a weight and has just discovered the weight was different the whole time than what he thought. Garrick, sire, you old fool, sire, you saved her life. For 6 more years, she lived 6 more years. Because you opened that gate. She raised Ren. Because you opened that gate. Ren is here, standing in this kingdom. Because you opened that gate. Do you understand what you did, sire? You saved her. Garrick, you old, loyal, stupid, magnificent fool. Get up, stand up, look at me. A pause. The sound of a man getting to his feet. I do not want your blade. I want your hand. I want your sword arm. I want your eye on my back for the rest of your life. As you have given them, with one secret kept. The one secret that mattered. A long silence then. 2 men. Embracing. The small, awkward thump of a man pulling another into his arms. Ren did not look. She turned her face into Odila's shoulder, and she let 2 old soldiers have their moment without an audience. The door opened a few minutes later. They came back in. Garrick was upright, eyes red, composed. Ronan looked at Ren. Did you hear? Yes, then you know that I am surrounded by people who have failed me for 14 years, and who have also loved me at the same time, and that I cannot tell them apart sometimes by sight. Yes, that is the work, Ren, the work of being a king. Telling them apart. You are doing all right, am I? Yes. He looked at her. His mouth did the almost smile. The day moved. 3 days passed. Then Odila recovered, slowly. She remembered nothing of the attack. Ren trained with Garrick every morning, learned to fall, learned to roll, learned a chokehold, learned how to slip a chokehold. Garrick was different with her now, softer. He did not say why, she did not ask. But twice, when she fell badly, he helped her up with both hands, and his hands lingered, as if he were trying to make up for 14 years of not protecting a woman who had needed protecting. She let him. She knew what that need was. She had carried it for 6 winters at a grave. Ronan spent his days with the council, pretending, smiling at Hadrick, drinking with him, letting Hadrick watch him grieve his mother in public. She knew what it cost him. She saw it on his face every night when he came back to their rooms, and the door closed and his shoulders finally dropped. She would meet him at the door. He would put his forehead on hers. For a long minute, he would breathe. Then he would say, "Tell me something good from your day," and she would tell him about Garrick teaching her how to break a man's grip on her wrist, about Brida braiding her hair a new way, about a sparrow that landed on her windowsill that morning. He would close his eyes and listen. As if these small things were the only true things in the kingdom. On the 7th day, Sable made her move. It was small. It was clever. She caught Wren in the corridor between Wren's chambers and the great hall. "My Lady Wren, Lady Sable, I have, so very much, wanted to speak with you, privately. A small cup of tea. In the south sitting room. Will you join me?" Wren looked at her. Sable smiled, ice blue eyes. "Wide, sweet," Wren heard Garrick's voice in her head. "Let her underestimate you." Of course, she went. She knew the moment she sat down. She knew the moment Sable poured. 2 cups, identical, Sable's, hers. Sable lifted her cup to acquaintance. Wren lifted. She did not drink. Sable drank. Smiled, "Try it. It is a blend. From the southern slopes. Honey, linden. Quite restorative." Wren lifted to her lips. Did not drink. Lowered, "My lady, is something wrong with your tea? No, then?" "I am savoring the smell." Of course, Sable drank again. Watched. Smiled, "You know, there is a thing they say. In the old houses, what thing they say? If a host drinks first, the guest may trust the cup. I have heard that, and so. You see, we are. Quite safe, of course." Wren lifted again. She felt her wolf go very, very still. She took the smallest possible sip, a drop. She set the cup down. Sable continued to smile for about 10 more seconds, then Sable's smile twitched. Sable blinked. Sable's hand went to her throat. "What?" Wren stood, slowly. She picked up her own cup, walked across the small room, poured the contents into a potted plant in the corner. Sable was staring at her. "You, my lady, are you feeling well? You?" "Because you do not look well." Sable's eyes were going wide, wider, the pupils swimming. Her hand fluttered at her chest. What did you?" "Nothing, I did nothing. I drank 1 drop. You drank a cup. You drink first. The old houses." Remember, Sable tried to stand, sat back down. "Hard help," she gasped. "Yes," Wren said. "Help, I will go and get help right away." She did not hurry. She walked out of the room, down the corridor. She found Garrick already coming. Already had been coming. Where? South sitting room. To her own tea. My lady, Wren. "Are you all right?" "Yes, did you?" 1 drop. "To be sure. It will be slow, I think. Not deadly. Not at 1 drop. It was meant to make my wolf sleep." "How do you know?" "Because I felt it." "Try to." He looked at her. He saw. He said nothing. He went to the south sitting room. 3 guards went with him. Wren walked back to her own chambers, closed the door, sat by the fire. She put her hand on her chest. Her wolf was wide awake, unhurt, but trembling, with a kind of rage Wren had never felt from her before. Ronan came an hour later. He had heard. He stood in the doorway. He did not speak. Then he crossed the room, went down on 1 knee, took her face in his hands. "You are all right." "Yes, tell me again." "I am all right, Wren." "Yes, this is the moment. They have moved. In the open, they have shown the blade. I cannot leave this. Even if I wanted to, I know, Hadrick will not let his sister fall alone. He will move tomorrow. He will do something. We must be ready." "All right." He paused. "Wren, yes, I love you." It was not a romantic sentence. It was not a vow. It was a statement, the way he had said, "I am going to kill him the night of the dinner." A fact like the sun rising. She closed her hand around his wrist. "And you," she said the next morning. Hadrick stood in the great hall. He had requested the audience. He had requested it formally. Before the full council, before witnesses, before everyone, he bowed to Ronan. "Your Majesty, I rise, today, on behalf of my dear sister Sable, who is recovering, slowly, from a most distressing illness, and on behalf of this council, to exercise an ancient right." He paused. Pleasure was on his face, plain, visible. "For the first time, I challenge the king's chosen mate. On the grounds that she is not what she claims to be, that she is feral, unworthy, and has worked her way into this throne through deception, and likely sorcery." The hall did not move. "I claim Luna challenge. Under the old law, the challenged may answer, in single combat, as wolves. 3 days from now, in the old arena, the pack will witness. The pack will decide." He bowed. "That is my claim." Ronan stood. His face was carved stone. Wren rose beside him. She felt the entire hall on her. She did not look at the hall. She looked at Hadrick. She held his eyes, and she smiled. Just a little, just at the corner of her mouth. The same kind of smile her old guardian used to give the wind when it tried to take her hat. Patient, amused. A small private knowing. Hadrick's smile twitched. She watched it twitch. "I accept," she said. 3 words, the hall exhaled, that night. She and Ronan stood on the balcony of his chambers, snow falling, slow, heavy, quiet, his arm around her, her back against his chest, his chin on the top of her head. The compound below was lit with 1,000 small fires. "You don't have to win," he said. "I know you only have to live. I know. If you fall, I won't. If you fall, I will be over the railing of the arena before your knee touches the stone. I will be in that ring. I will tear his throat out with my human hands." "Don't, Ren, don't promise that. Promise me you will wait until I cannot stand. Promise me you will wait until I have decided. Whether to get up, long silence. All right, I promise. Until you decide." "I will wait, thank you," she turned. In the circle of Sav's arms, looked up at him. 20 years old, look at snow on her lashes. "I am going to win, Ronan. Yes, not for you, not just for you. For her, for your mother. For the 6 winters. For the 8-year-old who ran in the bracken. For the girl who buried a body she did not know she was burying for a kingdom she did not know existed. For the Omega who was never an Omega. I'm going to win." "Yes," he bent. He pressed his forehead to hers. Snow fell between them. "Then we begin," he said. She lifted her chin. "Then we begin." Below the balcony, in the courtyard, Captain Garrick stood at the gate, sword across his shoulder, watching the dark. The 6th winter had ended. The 7th would begin in the arena. The morning of the challenge. The sky was the color of old iron. No sun. No wind. The kind of stillness that comes before something large breaks. Ren stood at the window. She had not slept. She did not feel tired. She felt the way she had felt the morning the woman in the grave had died. Empty, clean. Aware of every breath, Ronan was behind her. He had not slept either. Brita had come at dawn, with clothes dark red, the color of the wolf inside her. Now Bridia was gone. The room was quiet. Ronan crossed to her. "It is time, I know. Are you afraid?" She thought about it. "No, you should be. I know." "But I'm not." He did not push. He turned her to face him. He looked at her for a long time. He did not speak. He took her hand, lifted it, pressed his mouth to the cracked place between her thumb and her wrist. He said nothing. He did not need to. Garrick was at the door. "Sire, the arena is ready, Garrick. If she falls, sire, I will be in the ring before you are, Garrick. With respect, sire, I am older. My grief is older. My oath is older. I will be there first." Ronan looked at the old man for a long moment. Then he nodded. Once, Ren walked out of the chambers, down the corridor, past the great hall, out the main doors, across the stone courtyard, toward the arena. She walked bare. She had asked. The stone had to know her feet. The pack had to see them. The pack had to see what feet had walked through 6 winters to get to this stone. Snow fell on her shoulders. She did not feel it. The arena was packed. 2,000 wolves. Half shifted, half not. A wall of bodies all the way around the stone ring. Hadrick was already at his end, in human form still. A long gray cloak, open at the throat, a wolf's head pin at the collar. He looked the way men like him always looked. Calm. Sure. A man who has won so many small battles he no longer thinks the large ones can hurt him. Sable was not there. Morel was in the stands. Ren caught her gray eyes. Just once, the councilwoman looked away. Ren walked to her end of the ring. She did not look at Hadrick. She looked at the snow on the stones. The ring was old, older than the kingdom. The granite had been worn smooth by feet, by blood, by centuries. Ronan stepped on to the platform overlooking the ring. He raised one hand. The arena went silent. Luna challenge, issued by Councilman Hadrick, accepted by the king's chosen mate. The combatants will fight as wolves, until one cannot continue, or one yields, or one is killed. The pack will witness. The pack will decide. The old law is the only law in this ring today. He lowered his hand. Begin. Hadrick shifted. Fast. The kind of shift that comes from 40 years of practice. Out came a beast the size of a small bull. Gray. Heavy. Scarred down one shoulder. A growl rolled out of it. Ren did not move. She closed her eyes. She did not fight her wolf. She did not push. She let her wolf come. The shift was not fast. It was not violent. It was the way she had learned. From Ronan. In the courtyard. 3 nights of patience. Like sunrise, he had said. The warmth began in her chest, spread out through her limbs, down her spine. When she opened her eyes, she was a wolf, dark red, the color of autumn leaves, the color of old fire, smaller than Hadrick, but not as small as he had hoped, not Omega small. A wolf with breadth across the chest. A wolf with paws the size of saucers. A wolf with eyes that had gone gold the moment they opened. Hadrick did not wait. He charged 3 strides, low. Fast. Ren did not move in time. She had never fought a wolf. She had hunted rabbits. He was on her, his shoulder struck hers, sent her sideways. Hard, her ribs hit stone. Pain bloomed white, she rolled. Got up. He was already on her again. His teeth found the meat at the top of her shoulder. Tore blood. Hot. Down her foreleg. The arena gasped. She did not hear Ronan. He had promised. He had promised to wait. She fell. 3 legs. The 4th dragging. Hadrick stepped back. He could have taken her then. He did not. He was savoring it. She saw it. He circled her. She got up. 3 legs. He charged again. Knocked her sideways. She hit the stone. Hard. She got up. 3 legs. He charged. This time he took her down. His full weight. On her chest. Pinning her. His teeth at her throat. She felt the points press against her windpipe. She felt the slow leak of breath go out of her. She thought, this is how it ends. All right. I am sorry, woman in the grave. I am sorry, Ronan. I am sorry, Garrick. I am sorry I could not. And then the voice, not loud, not in her ears, in her chest, where her wolf lived. Get up, my girl. She knew the voice. She had not heard it in 6 years. It was a souled, get up. You are my blood. Get up. I can't. You can. You have been getting up since you were 8. You can get up now. One more time. He is too heavy. Then move what you do not need. I don't understand. You do not need to fight as a wolf. You are not a wolf, my girl. You never were. You are something older. You are something the wolves come from. Wake up. Ren felt something. In her chest, something deep. Something that had been sleeping not for 6 years, but for 200. It opened like a door, or like a flower, or like a sun. Her eyes, behind her wolf eyes, began to glow. Not gold, not the molten gold of an alpha's wolf, but something behind the gold. A vein of color the old texts had a word for, and no one had spoken in 3 generations. Liquid metal. Light running through gold like silver through stone. The pelt on her shoulders began to thread. With it, a vein of it. Then another. Then another. Until her dark red coat was traced with bright lines of moving gold. The wolves in the arena saw. 2,000 wolves saw at the same time. A sound went through them. The sound a congregation makes when a thing it had thought was a story turns out to be a person. Hadrick's wolf felt it, through the place where his teeth were touching her throat. A heat that did not come from blood, or muscle, or fur. A heat that came from somewhere under the bones. He let go. He stepped back. He did not mean to. His own wolf made him. His own wolf was older than his hatred, and his own wolf was bowing. Hadrick tried to make his wolf bite. His wolf would not. Ren rolled, slow, onto her belly, then pushed up. On 3 legs, the bad shoulder hanging, the blood still flowing. She did not look at her wound. She did not look at her body. She looked at Hadrick, and she let the thing under her bones rise out of her into the air. It was not power, not exactly. It was resonance the hum Odkla's silver wand had made, but amplified beyond a wand, through a wolf, through a Luna Prime, through 2,000 listening hearts. A hum, deep, steady, old, the kind of sound that does not come through ears. The kind of sound that comes through marrow. The pack felt it, and one by one, across the rings of stone seats, across the standing room, across the captains and the council and the servants and the soldiers, wolves began to bow, heads lowered, throats exposed, not in fear, in recognition, the old recognition. The bone-deep instinctive bowing of every wolf alive to the bloodline that had been hunted and buried and burned for 2 centuries, because 3 generations of councilmen had been too small to share a throne with. Morel bowed. Garrick bowed. The captains bowed. 2,000 wolves bowed. Hadrick was the last. He stood. He held. His legs shook. His wolf was trying to make him kneel. His pride was trying to keep him standing. For a long second, he held then. A bone in his wolf's leg made a sound. His back legs went. He did not kneel. He collapsed onto his belly, onto the stones, his head down, his throat exposed. A king of the council, on his belly, in front of an Omega from no man's land, who was not an Omega. Ren walked toward him, slow, 3 legs. She did not bare her teeth. She did not lift her hackles. She did not snarl. She did something stranger. She shifted halfway, held it the wolf and the woman together, standing in the ring on two legs but with the wolf's eyes, the wolf's coat across her shoulders. The old texts called it the speaking shift. It had not been performed in this kingdom in 140 years. She spoke. Her voice carried, without effort, to every corner of the arena. Councilman Hadrick, he did not raise his head. You poisoned my Luna, the mother of this kingdom, the mother of my mate. You poisoned her over 6 months, with a dosage administered through the kitchens. You did it because you feared her bloodline. You did it because you feared a throne you could not control. You did it with Councilwoman Mirel Sison's and 2 other men's hands. She paused. My Luna did not die in your hands. She walked out of those gates and lived for 6 more years. She found me. She fed me. She taught me. She died slowly in my arms, while you stood at her empty memorial and put your hand on her son's shoulder and lied to him for 14 years. The arena was so quiet she could hear her own heart. She lowered her voice, but it carried. This pack will judge you, not me. Not the king, not the council, the pack. Under the old law, the man who poisons a Luna is given to the pack. The pack decides. The pack ends. She turned. She walked out of the ring. She did not look back. She did not need to. Hadrick was still on his belly. Ronan came over the rail. He did not run. He walked. He shifted as he moved, met her at the gate of the arena in human form, already shrugging off his cloak, wrapping it around her shoulders, lifting her in his arms because the shoulder was bleeding again, now that the heat in her body was leaving. He did not look at Hadrick. He looked at Ren. Walk with me. Out. Now, don't look back, Ronan. What? The pack? The pack will do what the pack does. Under the old law, there is no king in that decision. We do not stay to watch, all right? Did she? Yes. You heard her, yes? His jaw worked. He carried her out through the gate, through the courtyard, through the great doors, behind them. In the arena, 2,000 wolves began to rise. Ren did not look. She had not made the decision. The pack made the decision. The old law was older than mercy, older than law, older than language. She closed her eyes against Ronan's shoulder. She let him carry her home. She did not see the inside of the arena again. She would not, ever, in the chambers. Odila was waiting. Bandages, hot water, a bowl of something green and sharp-smelling. Lay her down, sire. Ronan laid her on the bed, sat on the edge of it, held her hand. Odila worked. The shoulder needed stitching, 8 stitches, slow ones. Ren did not cry out. She had been bitten by worse things, worse rogues. 3 winters ago, with no one to stitch her, the pain was the same. But the hand was different. Odila finished. Sat back, she must rest. 3 days. No more shifting, no more fighting, no more politics. All right, the door closed behind the healer. Ronan sat on the edge of the bed for a long time. He did not speak. He held Ren's hand. Then, very quietly, I almost broke, I know. I had my hands on the rail. I had my feet on the rail. I was over the rail, and Garrick put his hand on my arm and said one word. What word? Wait. She closed her hand around his. He is the only man in this kingdom who could have said that word and stopped me. He has been saving me for 14 years, and I did not know it. You don't repay him. He won't accept it. He just wants to watch you be happy. That is what he is owed. Ronan looked at her for a long time. How are you so wise? I lived for 6 years with one person who told me what people are. He bent. He pressed his forehead to hers. Ren, yes, I do not want to know what is happening in that arena. I know. I do not want to know. I do not want a report. And when Garrick comes to tell me, I will tell him I do not want to know. And he will nod. And he will not tell me. And I will live the rest of my life not knowing. I do not want my mother's blood on my own hands. I want the pack to have made the decision. Not me, yes. Garrick came an hour later. Ronan met him at the door. He held up his hand. Garrick stopped. Garrick nodded. Garrick walked away. That was all. Outside, the snow began to fall again. 3 days. Ren slept, then woke, then ate, then slept again. Her body, 20 years of nothing, then 3 weeks of food. Then a fight was demanding all the rest it had ever been denied. Ronan did not leave her side. He had work. He gave the work to others. He had the kingdom delivered to him in folders. He read them on the floor by her bed. He signed what needed signing. He sent back what needed sending back. But he did not leave. On the 4th morning, she woke, sat up, slowly, tested her shoulder. It moved. I want to walk. All right, he helped her up. They walked, slowly through the corridors. Out into the courtyard, the compound was quiet. The kind of quiet that came after a great thing had happened, and everyone was still adjusting. People bowed as she passed, not the careful neutral bowing of a court, the deep bowing of recognition. Servants, soldiers, council members, bowed. Ren did not know what to do with it. Ronan said, "Just nod. That is what a Luna does." She nods back. She nodded. It felt like wearing someone else's clothes, but she nodded. In the courtyard, they sat on a stone bench in a small alcove sheltered from the wind. A boy brought bread and tea and went away. "Sable," she said in the borderlands. "Yesterday. 2 carriages. Provisions for the first 6 months. A small house in a clearing near the old eastern ruins. 3 guards. They will be withdrawn in a year. If she survives a year, she will. You think, yes. Why? Because I survived a year there at 8. With nothing. That is not the same. No. But it is what I think." He did not answer. He took her hand. "Mirel, 10 years. Healing wing," she accepted. Without a word. "She is, as we sit here, stitching wounds she did not cause. And nursing wolves she did not poison. It is not enough. No. But it is not nothing. No. Will you let her see her grandchildren?" He looked at her. "What? She has grandchildren. In the southern province. 3 boys. I asked Garrick. Ren, she failed your mother. She did not poison your mother. She failed her. There is a difference. I will not forgive her. But I am asking, will you let her see her grandchildren twice a year under escort?" For 10 years, he was quiet. A long time, then he said, "Yes, thank you." "Why are you asking this?" She did not answer at once. She watched the snow because, 20 years ago, I was born to a pack who decided I was not worth feeding. They left me in the underbrush. I was less than a day old. I would have died there if your mother had not eventually found me, 8 years later. After 3 winters of running, I know what I have learned from those years is that the only thing more dangerous than a cruel man is a man who stops looking for goodness because he has been hurt. Morel failed your mother. She is helping me now. She's teaching me things a Luna needs to know. I am not pretending she is innocent. I am refusing to be the woman who decides that the failure is the only thing she gets to be." He looked at her for a long time. "You are going to be a very good queen, Ren. I am not a queen yet. You will be. Soon. The marking ceremony. The first day of the 7th winter." Ren had chosen the date. It was, she said, the right shape. The arena was full. 2,000 wolves. The same stones this time. The blood was not on the stones this time. The stones had been swept clean this time. Pack was not there to judge. The pack was there to witness. She walked in dark red dress, down to her bare feet, her hair down her back. Brida had braided one small section behind her ear and let the rest fall loose. The way the old wolves had worn it. Before the kingdoms, Ronan was waiting at the center of the ring, in a dark coat, no crown. He had refused the crown for this. He had said, "I am not a king to her in this moment. I am a man. I am her man. The crown stays in the hall." She walked across the stones. She stopped in front of him. He looked at her. She looked at him. The arena breathed. He spoke, not loud. But the stones carried it. I claim you, Ren Ronan, before this pack. Before the old laws. Before whatever gods still listen to wolves. Before this pack. Before the old laws. Before whatever gods still listen to wolves." He did not finish the formal claim. He did something different. He stopped. He looked at her. "You guarded a grave in no man's land for 6 winters. Because she was kind to you. Because you owed her. Because you do not abandon what loves you. Even when it is dead. Even when the world is dead around you. Even when you are starving. Even when you are alone." He paused. "I will not abandon you, either. While I am alive. While I am dead. Through whatever winters come. Through whatever no man's lands, I will be at the gate, with the snow on my shoulders, looking for you." Always she could not speak. She tried, she nodded. His hand came up, to her face, his thumb brushed under her eye. There was a tear there. She had not known. "My turn," she said. He waited. "I have spent 20 years being nothing to no one. I have spent 6 years tending what was already gone. I did it because no one taught me how to do anything else. And because the only person who ever loved me had asked me to stay." With her name, with her bones, with her quiet, she breathed. I am not staying with quiet anymore. I am staying with you, with this pack, with these people, with this kingdom, and the woman who taught me to stay is the woman whose blood is in my blood. She gave me to you, and I am not too proud to be a gift, but I am too proud to be only a gift. She lifted her chin, so I am giving myself back to you, of my own choosing. Not because she chose, not because the wolf chose, because I choose. I, Ren. With these hands, with these feet, with these scars, with this voice, choose Ronan Blackwood, the man. Not the king. He did not move for a moment. Then he closed the last inch. His teeth found the curve where her shoulder met her throat. The mark, the pain was clean. Sharp, brief, the bond closed. The bond closed all the way. She felt him. All of him. His grief for his mother, his relief at her arrival, his fury at the council, his love, fierce, old, already grown, and he felt her. The 8-year-old in the bracken, the 14-year-old digging a grave, the 20-year-old who had chosen him. He drew back. His mouth was red. His eyes were wet. His face was. For the first time in 14 years. At rest, the pack howled 2,000 wolves. The sound rose out of the arena, up into the sky over the compound, across the territory, into no man's land, into the dead pines, over the small clearing where a flat river rock had once held a body that was now resting beside her husband in a proper grave with a proper name. Ren closed her eyes. She listened. She heard. Underneath the howling, faint, quiet, almost not there, a woman humming, a lullaby in a language no one in the kingdom knew anymore. She let it be. 3 months passed. The snow began to melt at the edges of things. Iron Moor's eastern fields began to show black earth under the white. Crocuses came up, pale, determined. Ren did not eat one morning. She did not eat the next morning either. On the third morning, Odila came, took her hands, pressed them between her own, closed her eyes for a long moment. When Odila opened her eyes, she was crying. What is wrong? Nothing, child. Nothing is wrong. Then what? You are 8 weeks along. With a daughter, Ren did not move. She did not breathe. She put her hand on her own stomach, the second resonance, the one Odila had detected on her second morning in this room, the one she had refused to name, a second heartbeat. Inside, a girl, a daughter. She closed her eyes. She did not weep. Not yet. For now she breathed and let the truth fit. She did not tell Ronan that day. She knew where she wanted to tell him. She waited 4 days. Until the sun came out for the first time since the marking. Until the path to the cemetery was dry enough to walk. Then she asked Brida to braid her hair the old way. And she went out. The cemetery was the highest point of the compound. Cypress trees. A low stone wall. Worn paths. The new stone was upright. She stopped in front of it. The carving was done. Isolde Blackwood, beloved Luna, mother, keeper of the lost child. Beneath that, in smaller letters, the line Ren had asked for. She kept the wolves from the door. She knelt. She put her hand flat against the stone. The stone was warm with sun. I have something to tell you, she said, before I tell him. I want you to know first. Because you knew first. You knew before any of us. You knew when you put your hands on my shoulders at 8 years old and made the choice. So you should know first now. She rested her forehead against the stone. I am with child, a girl, 8 weeks, she is. The size of a strawberry, Odila says, already with a heartbeat. The size of a moth's wing, a pause. I am going to teach her the tune, the one you hummed. I do not know the words. The language is gone. But the tune is in my throat. I have been carrying it. For 14 years, I will give it to her. So that it does not die. The wind moved through the cypress trees. She heard footsteps on gravel. She did not turn. She knew the footsteps. Ronan came to stand beside her. He did not speak. He waited. She did not turn her face from the stone. I am pregnant, she said. Quickly, to the stone first. To him second. In one breath. He went very still then. Without a word. He went down on his knees beside her, in the grass. His face was the face she had seen him hide for 30 years, a boy who had lost his mother at 16, and spent 14 years walking through corridors with no one waiting for him to come home, and had now, suddenly, out of one feral winter, acquired a woman, and a pack he could trust, and a daughter on the way. He pressed his forehead against her belly. He stayed there, for a long time. She put her hand on the back of his head. He spoke, without lifting his face. Mother. The word was for the stone. I brought her home. As you asked, I kept her. As you asked, I am keeping the others away from her. As you asked, I am going to make a kingdom that is safe for her, and for our daughter, and for the daughters after her. As you asked, he paused. I am sorry it took me 14 years to find you. I am sorry I did not look harder. I am sorry I believed them. I am sorry I let them tell me what kind of woman you were. I should have known. I should have ridden into no man's land at 17, and not stopped until I found you. I did not. I will live with that for the rest of my life. Mother, forgive me. The wind moved. It was Renfelt. Warm. Not the cold wind of the borderlands. A warm wind. The first warm wind of the year. It moved through Ronan's hair, and through Ren's and around them, and on. Through the cypress trees, over the wall, out toward the east, toward no man's land, toward an empty grave under dead pines, where a flat river rock with scratched letters had been left in place. Here rests a gentle heart, Ren had asked. To keep that rock. There, as a marker, for anyone who might one day be lost in the borderlands, looking for a sign that someone had been kind once, even in a dead forest. Even in winter, she still went there. Sometimes. Once a season, Ronan rode with her. Garrick rode behind. 3 guards beyond that, they would camp a night. She would clear leaves from the rock, sit with her back to a pine, eat bread, drink water, look up at the dead branches. Then they would ride back. The borderlands did not feel cruel to her anymore. The borderlands were just a place where a kind woman had hidden a child for 12 years, until the child was ready to be found. A place where time waited for the people, patient enough to find each other. The first time she went back, after the marking, after the news of the baby, she rode beside Ronan on a horse of her own. She had learned to ride. She had learned a great many things in 3 months. How to walk into a room and let it quiet around her. How to listen to 12 counselors at once and remember which one had said what. How to read a report. How to sign her name. How to feed a baby a bottle when one of the kitchen women had a sick child and needed sleep. How to bow at exactly the right angle to a foreign emissary. How to nap, which was new. She had never napped before. How to be touched. That was the largest learning. 20 years of not being touched. Then suddenly, a husband. A captain who lingered when he helped her up. A healer who held her hand. A servant who braided her hair. A pack that woke up out when she passed hands. Everywhere. Hands. Hands. For a long time she had flinched. She had stopped flinching by the 2nd month. She had begun, slowly, to reach back. A hand on Brida's wrist when the girl came in tired. A hand on Garrick's arm when he stood too long in a doorway thinking too much. A hand on a counselor's shoulder when she walked past him in the corridor and saw the line between his brows and thought he was carrying too much. She did not know she was healing them, but Odila knew. Odila saw it. The healing wing had emptied out faster than Odila had records of any wing emptying. The fevers broke faster. The wounds knit cleaner. The grief sat lighter on the people who came in carrying it. Odila had stopped writing down what she saw. She did not need to write it down anymore. Ren and Ronan stood in the small clearing. Dead pines, old snow, the flat river rock, the empty hollow where Isolde had rested for 6 years. The earth had begun to settle back over it. In a few more years there would be no hollow, only ground. I want to plant something here, Ren said. What? A pine, a young one, from the southern hill. They grow there, even in this kind of cold. I want to plant one, so that the dead pines have a green one to look at. He looked at her. You are very tired, aren't you? Yes. Of dead things, yes? All right, we will bring one. In the spring. They did. Garrick brought it, wrapped in burlap. A pine sapling not much taller than Ren's waist. She planted it herself, on her knees, with her own cracked hands, which were no longer cracked, which were healing into the hands of a woman who would never lack for water again. The pine took roots in dead ground. It would, in 10 years, be twice her height, in 100 years. It would be a tower of green among gray bones. Time waited. It was a thing she had learned. Time waited for the people patient enough to find each other. She put her hand on her belly. The size of a strawberry was a long time ago now. The baby moved, a small, faint roll. She caught her breath. Ronan saw. He stilled. Ren, she moved. He came to her, pressed his palm against the place she pointed. He waited. And then After a moment, a small bump against the inside of his hand. He closed his eyes. His mouth did something it did not do often. He smiled, a full smile. The kind a man does when he has remembered, after 14 years, what his face is for. The daughter was born at the end of summer, a long labor, a patient labor. The kind Odila said was a Luna Prime labor, the body refusing to rush the work, taking its slow, careful time. Ren delivered in her own bed, with Odila on one side and Bryda on the other. With Ronan holding her hand and Garrick stationed at the door because nothing was going to get past Garrick that day. The baby came out red. She came screaming. She came out with a full head of dark hair and gold eyes already open. Odila laid her on Ren's chest, and the room went silent, because the small thing curled against Ren's skin made a small sound, and the sound was not a cry. It was a hum, the same tune, a baby, hours old, with the tune already in her throat. Ren wept. She had been waiting 20 years to weep without shame in a warm room with people around her. She wept now, quiet, long, the way snow falls. Ronan pressed his forehead to hers. He did not weep. He had wept enough for one lifetime. He breathed. He held his daughter's foot between his thumb and his forefinger and breathed. "What is her name?" Garrick said from the doorway. He could not help himself. He had asked twice that day already. Ren had said, both times. Not yet, but now. Now Ren looked at the baby, and at Ronan, and at Odila, and at Garrick standing in the doorway with his eyes red. She knew. She had known for months. "Isolde," she said. The room went still. Then Garrick made a sound she had never heard him make. A small, soft, broken sound. He turned. He left the doorway. He walked down the corridor. He did not let anyone see his face. But Ren felt his happiness through the wall. The way she felt everything now. The way a Luna Prime felt the pack she belonged to. Outside in the long evening light, a single thrush sang on a windowsill. Inside, in a warm room, a king, a queen, a healer, a maid, a baby with a tune in her throat, a grandmother's name carried forward, a bloodline, not extinct after all, walking on into the next century. On small new feet that had not yet learned to walk, in the cemetery. The pine sapling at the foot of aisled stone was growing. The cypress trees moved. The wind was warm. Out in the borderlands, the dead pines stood. The flat river rock waited. A new pine waited, too, growing slow, in ground that had been called no man's land. It was not no man's land anymore. It was Ren's, to visit, to care for. To remember, it was a place where time had waited, for the right people to find each other. Ren held her daughter against her chest. The baby's hum slowed. The baby slept. Ronan looked at his wife. His face was the face of a man who had been carrying a 14-year-old grief, and had set it down. "Are you all right?" he said. "Yes." "Tired?" "Yes." "Happy." She paused. She tested the word. She had not tested it before. She had not had the vocabulary. She did now. "Yes." She said it again, softer. "Yes." The fire burned. The lamps burned. The sun went down beyond the walls of Iron Moor. The wolves were not at the door. The wolves were inside the gates, where they had always belonged, and the gates were closed against the cold, and the cold, for the first time in 20 years of Ren's life, was outside where it belonged.